Hey, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel, Aries. This is your July 2021 soul story. If you're new, then this is a general reading for sun, rising and moon. And if you're returning, thank you so much for taking the time to tune back in again. So I'm opening up your reading this month with an energy guide from the new painted rune deck. Traditionally, runic symbols are found on stones and originating from this Germanic alphabet and used by the Nordic culture and rune casters to help us connect into our higher self. And Sophie from the Painted Tarot has reimagined them, brought them to life with figures, and really blended this beautiful fusion of courage and heart and connecting into our inner warrior so that we have a level of fearlessness as we approach our soul journey. And I love this for welcoming the month of July because I think it's a beautiful month to be able to break through, shatter fears, shatter illusions, shatter limitations, and really kind of allow yourself to graduate to the next level. So we open up your energy with the runic guide of Laguz, and this is a beautiful flowing guided, gentle energy. It links, for a tarot perspective, into energies like the star, the moon, the high priestess, the ace of cups, the seven of cups. And so, perfectly at home in Cancer season, where these emotive energy exchanges and your experience of them over the next few weeks is going to have a profound impact on your life. There's some deep soul medicine available to you in July, Aries, specifically because we have a huge emphasis on Chiron, which is in your sign right now, moving retrograde on the 15th of the month. And so as it stations on that day, we have that sense of moving inwardly to confront some of the inner feelings that we have. And Laguz here is almost allowing herself to just fall through the water. So there's a beautiful aspect of just surrendering into the experience. I think what's curious to note though is that when I was linking into your energy and this idea of sort of our emotional experience was coming up really powerfully, but I suppose the question I want to invite you to consider is that do you have to participate in the emotional experience of others if it means that you are abandoning yourself in any way? Sometimes as we are working through our own healing journey, there are important moments where we have to kind of acknowledge, perhaps from a boundary perspective, that we simply can't take something on, or we can end up in a situation where, that kind of abandonment of self in order to kind of sort of step into someone else's vibrational energy can have quite an overwhelming impact on just our centeredness. And so as we move into the tarot and we open up with the energy of the Three of Cups here, there is something deeply celebratory about this month for you, and I think it's recognition of the growth, because ahead of Chiron going retrograde there's going to be some beautiful sweet aspects on the 3rd and the 7th of the month, and what that's going to indicate to you is areas where you have been doing deeper healing work. You're going to start to see some gorgeous kind of results and things coming to fruition that help you to understand that actually you have moved past, you have moved beyond, and trauma in whatever capacity it might still be a part of your experience, it isn't your resting place, Aries. And so there's a reminder this month that there is so much to enjoy and to tap into that can kind of lift your energy and your spirit, and I do want you to recognize when things are showing up that way. There was this other sort of theme that was coming up as I was connecting in, and it was about this idea of it being complicated, but at the same time coexisting beautifully with this new level of certainty and clarity. And that's the truth of it, isn't it? Things are not so black and white, and we move through our life experiences in this kind of different shades of grey, and it's perfectly okay to acknowledge that there might be things that you're dealing with, in terms of your healing relationship with yourself or with other people, or in things that are happening closer to home, or just in part of your journey right now that are bringing about this level of confusion and complication. And at the same time there are emerging shoots of deeper trust that is kind of helping to formulate like new strategies, new plans, new ideas. And part of the embracing of some of the cycles and the changes that you've been going through is just acknowledging that there's going to be this forever sort of balancing act between this, it's complicated, and yes, this is clarifying and becoming much clearer for me as I move forward. And the moon energy, of course, linking into Laguz, suggests that perhaps through the course of this month, and especially in Cancer season, which is linking and activating that fourth house energy of what's going on in that beautiful internal emotional narrative that you have, and perhaps, closer to helping you to understand how and what you need by way of that inner parenting right now. It's a theme that's been coming up across all of the sessions for July and the soul stories. And, when we are working with the energy of the moon, it's a direct invitation to connect more deeply into an innate soul wisdom, our own intuition. And part of that, in terms of the growth, might be for some of you kind of recognizing or admitting where you got it wrong, or where you found something wasn't to be as expected or anticipated. And again, this understanding of your emotional response to that is going to show you everything about the way in which you've moved forward. It's almost like a leveling up and a beautiful sense of ascension as you recognize that, where you haven't listened or you don't listen, how are you ever going to learn? How are you ever going to progress, But at the same time, as this full moon comes in, there's beautiful things being brought to the surface. Now, July is a month that has some of these sort of I want to call them like short, sharp bursts of kind of triggering or jolting or awakening energy. And sometimes that revelation can feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's like, okay, what do we do with this now? Or maybe perhaps feeling a little bit under pressure to perform or to agree or to share or express in kind of some certain way. And so again, it's a direct invitation for you, Aries, through the course of this month to really acknowledge like places that you feel safe. And sometimes being under pressure can kind of, help us to tap into our potential and kind of motivate us and can really deliver something unexpected but beautifully as a result. But at the same time, it can also very clearly demonstrate to you places and people and energies that are just not really understanding where you're at the moment and what you need by way of your own emotional, physical, spiritual, mental energies. And there is a prioritization that Chiron is really emphasizing as it's working through your sign, that you really take time to address things that need to be worked on and healed and released from this perspective. There's a quality as well of sort of surrendering. And what do we need to surrender into? I think we need to surrender into the goodness as much as the challenge, and I think July has this sort of interesting vibe for me, for you Aries, where I feel like you want to get a lot done early in the month so that you can take time out to kind of celebrate and to actually engage and to connect and to have that sense of community and friendship and, linking in with other people to just kind of take you up and out yourself. I think if you're not careful, a lot of that watery energy could feel a little bit overwhelming and just kind of almost get on top of you at times through the month. There's a big difference between the idea of sleeping and resting. They're not really the same thing. Rest comes from a conscious decision. And I suppose we want to also consider through this course of July where we're actually finding moments to kind of rest, because it's in that sacred space that I see you kind of being able to access these beautiful bursts of sunshine that actually feel really freeing and liberating for you. And so the energy of the full comes in with this gorgeous sense of like, again, this initiation to a new level. It's a new beginning, and there's an adventurous spirit that's kind of bubbling away here. And so I have a sense that July kind of at its bigger theme is about you feeling like, okay, I need to kind of deal with this, but once I shift this, I'm going to give myself permission for that. And, I think that's not a bad approach to have. Just make sure that you're not kind of always putting things off, like when I get this done, or when I, apply myself in this way, or when I've achieved this, then I'll finally get to enjoy myself, or I'll get to give myself time off, or anything on that kind of a level. I think the Fool is also wanting to bring in a little bit more energy for you, and sometimes that water can feel like it's kind of draining you somewhat. So as we come into Leo season, I think you're going to get far more of a burst of spark and sort of self-motivation to want to put a plan in action or to initiate something new or different. Now, we've got the sun moving into Leo on the 22nd, and just as we build up to that point, we have some good aspects coming in with Uranus, which means we're going to be delivering some positive and fairly unexpected news. And so you might be on the receiving end of some offers, some invitations, or some surprise announcements that could impact you and your world in a really positive, uplifting way. I think it's also important that through the course of this month, you yourself take the opportunity to initiate planning or putting things in motion, or perhaps being the person that organises the get-together, or just making sure that you've got things that are going to be peppered through your diary that give you that opportunity to have that rest and to really kind of recharge your batteries, There's a sense for some of you, I think, now that Mercury is fully moved direct and there's more clarity that's emerged, and by way of how you want to communicate and what you have to say from a heart energy perspective, especially as we move into Leo season and lighting up that 5th house energy, that you have a real desire to kind of want to lay something on the line. And I think that can be really beneficial if it's coming from a perspective that says, I can't return, and even though this place isn't completely new, it's never the same every time I revisit it. So you're kind of recognizing your healing and your growth in it. And there's this beautiful opening up to the abundance of the inevitable good things that are set to come in for you. So I kind of feel like you're wanting to be looking towards situations and people, seeing the best in them, looking for the potential, looking for where the light is streaming in. Of course, that comes first and foremost from nurturing and nourishing the self at kind of a really deep level. And like we said, that soul medicine that's coming through is a powerful force in terms of helping you to align in how you truly feel about a situation, about a person, about an experience, and about what comes next for you. You have so much water flowing through your chart. I think it's important that we look at Laguz and how she's initiating this sense of hope and kind of this gentleness and moving through some of the experiences and some of the things that might be triggering or kind of surfacing for you this month. And the moon as well just kind of has that tendency to still make things feel like there's more to come, and you're just a little bit out of reach of the kind of the key piece of information or knowledge or wisdom that's really going to support you making that kind of next firm decision. Your Four of Pentacles suggests to me that perhaps you may be dealing with someone or a situation that feels a little bit more locked down or restricted at this moment in time. But I also kind of like the earthiness coming through, because I feel it's also something that's going to help to ground your energy. I suppose with Neptune retrogrades as of the end of June, there is this aspect of us kind of removing the rose-tinted glasses and sort of looking at our fantasy and illusionary quality of, some of the dreams or hopes that we have, and having a kind of reality check moment. But at the same time, that's going to be helpful if you're dealing with a lot of that moon energy through the course of this month. There's something that's being activated within you that's going to be really important by how you are able to start to receive things in a greater capacity. What do I mean by that? So where we are holding ourselves back with stories of scarcity around love, around money, around health and vitality and well-being, around time feels like it's a big one, because everything about this reading so far is like going with the flow and surrendering. Even the Fool, he's not checking in with what the time is, he's just like abandoning himself to the moment and being like beautifully present in that. And there are aspects of you acknowledging, tapping into that internal experience that you're having with a real sense of honesty, and then from that being able to have almost what I want to say like a kind of a journey of soul retrieval. It's like you're just gathering up fragments of yourself as you move through this month of July. It's actually kind of quite a beautiful vision that they're giving me with this. And as you do, and you're kind of storing them in your knapsack here, there's a sense of lightness that continues to grow and build within you as you move towards the end of the month. And I think part of that is like a deeper sense of trust in knowing that you know what's right for you, you know what's good for you, and you're prepared and willing to kind of take a risk and to try something different, to try something new, and to put yourself out there. So there's a kind of removing of the shackles or where you've been tethering yourself. And again, if you are looking towards people or situations that feel a little bit more dense or heavy, or they're not emotionally emotionally available. There is this quality of like, okay, you know, I can't waste or I can't pour any more time into that. Like I have to really recognize where the energy is moving and flowing for me, I'm ready and willing to participate in energy exchanges that are about growth and forward movement. And if someone or something is unable to provide that for me right now, it's not to say I'm closing the door completely, but at the same time I need to move on. So that kind of aspect of things is going to be coming in quite strongly for you. Of course, Laguz also connects into that high priestess energy, and she does bring a certain receptivity and passivity to situations, and sometimes in the stillness where we feel like we're waiting and we feel like something is hidden or shrouded, it can start to activate sort of all these fears within us. Now, the Nine of Swords is an indication, I feel, where something has kind of taken root or taken seed in your energy field or your way of thinking, and before you know it, it sort of can get a mind of its own and go a little bit out of control. Now, I need to bear in mind that, you know, this energy of the moon can be quite strong when it kind of grips in, and so a lot of what you might be worrying about or have anxiety or stress over is kind of illusionary and not necessarily the real kind of situation. And so I can appreciate that, you know, in those moments of uncertainty, it might feel very, very real for you and it could feel quite overwhelming. But look at all these gorgeous hummingbirds. What they're indicating here is you actually setting yourself free. You're setting yourself free from these. And, you know, if I go back to what I spoke about at the beginning of this reading, July has got this amazing capacity for us to kind of tap into a level of fearlessness that perhaps we've never really understood about ourselves before, or we've not recognized where to find it within that kind of inner well of energy that is always directly kind of available to us. And so again, part of that healing experience that you're going through, and that might be brought to light even more clearly this month with Chiron, is kind of showing you all of the tools and the understanding and the knowing and the wisdom that you've gained over, you know, years and even lifetimes, as we talk about this aspect of kind of soul retrieval, and you're kind of bringing all of that to bear, and you are finding a way out, because the Fool is also suggesting this beautiful sense of liberation and freedom and the opportunity to kind of tap into a much higher expression of energy. And that's where I want you to keep focused. But you have the sun and the moon, you know, showing up for you, and it is that kind of indication that there are these beautiful cycles that happen daily within the earth, and you are part of that. You're part of that dance, you're part of that synergy. Now, the Nine of Wands has come through in quite a few of the soul stories this month, and I do connect it to the fact that, you know, some of the experiences of the last few weeks, astrologically, energetically, it's kind of brought about this feeling of just like bone tiredness, you know, and you may well be getting like 7-8 good hours of sleep a night, you know, maybe not, but still there's this quality of just feeling like you're exhausted and depleted in some aspect, and that might just be because you haven't had enough respite or time to rejuvenate. There's not enough play, there's not enough lightness. And so in whatever capacity it might be showing up, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and there's also this reminder, you know, that perseverance and kind of allowing yourself some respite so that you can align with, again, the kind of priority for you this month, like what's important, what matters. You don't need to be all things to all people. In fact, you don't need to be the best at everything. You just need to pick the things that are naturally bubbling to the surface for you right now, Aries, and you need to kind of apply yourself in a way that feels committed but also really sacred for you, because there is something about this month that's kind of deeply personal, if that makes sense. And I think running alongside you, you know, are going to be like beautiful events, beautiful situations and opportunities that are opening up and giving you signs and validation and nourishment and a reminder of the value and how people perceive you and what they are hoping for you in terms of your experience. And I don't know, it might be at times you feel kind of distinctly disconnected from that or observing it, but it's not really landing for you. And it's not because you're not appreciative, it's not because you don't want to experience or participate in that, but at the same time I think that there's something deeper that's going on within you, a shift, a change that kind of love is drawing all your energy and focus right now. And that's going to be really important, because what comes from this, what the deliverance is for you, is a huge graduation and an ascension. And I think it's something around the confidence that you have to kind of just be more open and receptive to some of the goodness that's about to show up in your experience. And so we have the Two of Pentacles, Two of Coins here. Now, a couple of aspects in and around finances here. So there might be some consideration or some thoughts around, how do I make this work? Do I have enough? Where am I juggling investments? Where am I thinking about moving money? Where am I thinking about my income streams? You know, am I wanting to change, and is there some fear that's being activated as a result of that? But there's also this aspect of just kind of needing to recognize that whatever the fears are, up to this point, you've always got it done. You've always been okay. You've always made it through. And I think we sort of, at times like this, we need to sometimes have a fact check. You know, we need to kind of look at the evidence of experiences that we've been through and see how it's changed us, what we've gained and learned by that experience, and then apply that to where some of these kind of pesky energies might be surfacing and trying to kind of dissuade us or make us feel a little bit more doubt-filled or unsure about ourselves or the decisions and choices that we want to make, or kind of making their way towards us. I think, again, both with the Three of Cups and the Two of Pentacles coming in here, there's a beautiful fun aspect to July that I don't want you to overlook or dismiss. Again, this sort of idea of maybe trying to be working smarter so that you are affording yourself more time, because I think there's more things that are going to surface for you that you hadn't expected by way of nice invitations, opportunities, perhaps new people making making themselves known into your experience, and even just new inspirations that you think, oh my goodness, like I really want to go out and try this or get involved or participate in that. And so like not allowing yourself access to that type of experience in your life, or to that time where you are getting that kind of proper conscious rest, because even though it's playful and light, it's also just a chance to kind of switch off from some of the heavier, denser things that might be playing out. It's really important. It really is important. And I suppose back to what we said about this aspect of things feeling like they're complicated, but at the same time we're coexisting beautifully with this improvement and simplification that you're kind of wanting to apply to your life. Now, you might have new cycles, routines, things that are changing, and maybe you're still adapting. You know, maybe you're about to or have already left a situation behind you. She's dancing with the moon here, though. I mean, the moon is like a powerful guide coming in for you this month, Aries. And as she dances with the moon, you know, that movement in the body allows things to kind of almost dislodge that have perhaps been kind of embedded in our energy field for longer than they needed to. So again, this deep healing by way of movement, and just allowing that kind of cycle to come to a point of fruition. The full moon is going to be in the sign of Aquarius on the 23rd, and again, there's some sort of irritable energy that's perhaps going to surface in and around that time. But at the same token, do you have to take it on? Do you have to participate in it? Perhaps you'll be given information that can be valuable and helpful for you. You don't need to use that information as a weapon or as a reason to beat someone up, or yourself, by the way, but you can learn from it. You can kind of give this opportunity to yourself to realize that perhaps this wasn't quite right for you, or this wasn't meant for you, and it will maybe just show you your readiness for something different or something new. So kind of be open to what might come to light in and around that time. I think Laguz, you know, I mean, she's really being emulated in so many of the cards that are coming in. Like we said, she's connected to the moon, she's connected to the Ace of Cups, and that aspect of just allowing yourself to flow with everything that is going to surface for you this month is going to mean that you're actually you're going to end up it's almost like the river's going to carry you, and by the time you get to the end of the month, you're going to be utterly surprised in a good way, in a positive way, at where it kind of throws you out, and you're going to realize actually it maybe didn't take as much effort as I thought or I had anticipated to kind of move to this new level or get to this new point, or for this situation to transform. And so be open to that, because the more that you can almost disconnect from situations that might feel a little bit more entangled or challenging through the course of this month, the easier the whole experience is going to be for you, and the more you're going to gain from where you end up actually. And that's all about the way in which you're going to start to receive some of the beautiful kind of gifts and rewards that I think are wanting to make their way towards you. When we see Mars moving into the sign of Virgo toward the end of the month, there's also this amazing capacity to kind of start to get things done so much more efficiently. And I think that can be exceptionally helpful for you in whatever guise you felt like, okay, now I need to get back to it. Maybe if you've taken some time off or a little bit of a break. Okay, so your goddess card that wants to join this conversation, Aries, is Green Tara. Protection. Your circumstances are shifting. You are protected. Begin to loosen your grip on fears and worries. It really beautifully emulates the fact that yes, there may be some things that are emerging from within you that are kind of trying to just attack that sense of inner peace and well-being that is always available to you. And this sense of having protection from the etheric realm, the spiritual realm, but also in the way in which your higher self is just guiding you beautifully. She's so at peace here. She's in this absolutely sacred space. Again, all this water flowing, but look how crystal clear the lagoon is here. So this isn't like all about murky, heavy, difficult, dense like emotions. This is also about recognizing that, tapping into that beautiful higher vibrational frequency that you have the capacity to do. Like, your body is innately capable of accessing a higher divine expression of love and healing and protection than you ever knew possible. And perhaps on a spiritual level, that's really going to show up for you in immeasurable ways this month, which I love. But there's also something quite exotic about this particular landscape right now. And so I love the kind of abundant, sort of wildly different, adventurous feeling that it actually also initiates and sort of brings forth. And again, linking into that energy of the Fool, it's almost like saying, look, you are safe to explore a different way of doing something, a different way of being, a different sense of self, identity or expression that you want to bring into a situation. And I think that's helpful. Now, there's this kind of haze in the background as well a little bit. So, there might, again, with that moon, be aspects of you just having to make decisions and choices based on your own sense of clarity without having that information necessarily validated initially around you. But rest assured, Aries, if you can kind of come to terms with something and come into acceptance with something, knowing that it is the next right logical step for you in July, you're going to start to see the universe coming and showing up in a big way for you moving forward. And the people in your life that actually might be almost in a sense of waiting to see what you're going to do next, waiting to see what it is that you want or that you need, or where you are, where you're at in relation to something. So this is a general reading for the month of July. If you'd like to join me for the extended, you can find the link in the description, the comment section underneath. I'm just going to go ahead and pull us a couple of cards in relation to a question that you have that might not have come up in the main general reading here. Remember, the timing of this is really non-linear, and so you might be experiencing things at different stages to other people and in very different ways. So just be open to that. Thank you for joining me for the extended. If it resonates, it's a way to support and invest in my channel and the work that I do, and I'm really deeply grateful. So just starting with this Three of Cups and bringing in the energy of the Queen of Swords and the Four of Swords. Interesting. Two of Wands. I feel like you're reimagining something for yourself this month, and it's kind of coming to you through that beautiful daydreaming, lucid dreaming, kind of access into your, your subconscious. Your dreams, no doubt, will be sharing interesting information for you. Very jumpy cards in your reading this month. Okay. Fire energy coming through, I like for you. Six of Pentacles coming in, and another energy of the Fool. News making its way with that Knight of Swords, perhaps at the root of some of these challenges, perhaps something from the past coming up here. Another Three of Cups, interesting. Okay, Aries, I'm going to leave it there. Lots more interesting messages making their appearance known here. So if you're going to join me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation. Otherwise, I'm just going to wish you a beautiful month of July. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in. You take good care of yourself. Bye for now.